Hello world, it's Turnovation back again with another video. This video is a thank you for my first 50 subscribers on YouTube. I really appreciate everybody that subscribed. You know, they say progress over perfection. I'm really excited about the vision that Turnovation is going to offer the world, offer the nation. Like I said, not just streaming video games, but hot topics, talking about autism, resources for it, talking about relationships, and a lot of things that I lived through, been battle tested, and just allowed me to really like express myself. And I feel like I want to lift my voice, lift my brand, and let the world know that, there's somebody that's really can talk about these topics in a way to where everybody can relate. And like I said again, I just want to thank everybody for subscribing. And I know that it's growing. I just started a couple weeks ago. And like I said, you can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, but YouTube is primarily where I want to kind of be the source where everything kind of linked together. And like I said, just thank you again for subscribing and following and liking. And I will promise to give you content as much as I can. And if there's any questions that you would like to ask, or any topics that you want me to elaborate on, if I don't get to it, I will, and I will do my best. And thank you. Hello words, Turnovation again. We just reached 50 subscribers. I want to give you a big thanks for allowing me to give you content, and just on the startup, been on it about a couple weeks. I feel like it's really growing. And but now I want to talk about autism. I want to talk about how I had firsthand experience with that. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and I love her to death. She's smart, she's beautiful, she's everything to me. She's somebody that gave me a lot of patience over the years to allow me to be not just a better father, husband, but just a person that can really understand people and be aware. And on this video, I don't want to go all over the place, but I just want to talk about my firsthand experience with autism. Like I said, I have a 10-year-old daughter. The early signs, first I want to say Google, based on the stats, for every 100 kids, it's one kid that's diagnosed with autism or somewhere along the spectrum that has been diagnosed. For every 33 kids, it's like zero point 0.3. But as far as being diagnosed, for every 100 kid, is one kid that, been diagnosed with autism. And we found out that our daughter, me and my wife, we found out like 2.5, close to 3. We first noticed signs, with her, going like that, with noises and certain sensories. We noticed that when she went to, the pantry to get something to eat, she'll just look. And, it was like, hey, what do you want? You want cereal? You want this? You want that? And she really wasn't talking. So we took her to CHKD because, we had insurance and everything. We wanted to get her the best care. And there she got the speech therapy, she got the occupational therapy that she needed. And she was able to go from not really talking at all to, hey, I want cereal, I want yogurt, I want this, I want that. And, it just started going together, me and my wife. The statistics for marriage, I don't know offhand, but I know that a lot of relationships fail because family don't understand. It caused a lot of problems when you're trying to figure it out. And, autism being so new for us, we really haven't experienced that in my family. So, just a lot of things that went on at that age. So when she got diagnosed, it took us about a good 6 months that we had to wait on a list to get her properly diagnosed. And it was like a series of tests that they ran to kind of like, just make sure, verify that she was on a spectrum or whatever. And when we was told the news, we had to kind of just think about a whole lot of things, what we had to do financially as far as insurance, getting resources, and just getting her at that point to be, make sure the occupational and speech was good, so it could help her kind of grow and, get to where she needed to be. So say about 3, 4, 5, starting off pre-K. Her birthday was in November, so she kind of got pre-K like twice. Then she went to kindergarten, and everything was kind of good. She had teachers to really like understand, what they needed to do as far as, hey, putting her on the bus, coming to school. The first week was kind of hard because it was kind of new to her. But me and my wife, we just kind of took it on the chin and say, hey, we're going to do what we got to do. And we just going to make sure that we with her every step of the way. And as far as like medication and stuff, that didn't come to around about 5 or 6. And, for some people, medication is kind of difficult because they don't want their child to be, kind of like this and like that, be a little, drowsy or whatever. So we started her on the Vivants, and it helped her pay attention in school. It helped her, allow her to give that opportunity for her to kind of like, you know what I'm saying, and just really kind of lock in on her schoolwork. And it's a whole lot more, that went on, but just stand up at night, making sure she get proper rest if she wasn't sleeping, and if she started stimming, and stimming is pretty much, just kind of, acting as if, if anything's uncomfortable or cause her sensory to be off, she'll probably like go into a little stim. And like I said, I had to learn all of this from research, but when I went on YouTube, it was kind of like your same little people talking about it, but it was never nobody elaborating to the degree of like you could break it down and hey, look, this is what's really going on. So I just feel like God gave me a voice to really speak on something that I really experienced firsthand. And like I said on my channel, I want to just give you the real. I want to give you like no sugarcoating, raw, you know what I'm saying, about everything and every topic that I want to talk about dealing with autism, because I take that very seriously. And I could be the first one to tell you that it's all good, it's just something that's going to be different, but you know what I'm saying, you and your partner can go through with it. When they say, a lot of marriage relationships, they don't work for whatever reason, one of them got to stay at home. So, and then another full disclaimer, everything that I said with my firsthand experience with autism might not be verbatim to somebody else, because like I said, the spectrum is just not like one thing. It could be, okay, some kids not talking. I know some people that kids are not talking till they're like 5, 6. I'm talking about saying mom, daddy, all that. So A. Marie, she was saying stuff at 2, like muffling, but it wasn't like you could tell it wasn't like a, fluent conversation or anything like that. So like I said, the speech therapy helped. And I would say with autism, the sooner, the better. Don't let your kid down, don't let your family down because you didn't get it early, you didn't catch it early, you was kind of like delusional about it. I wasn't delusional, I was just like, it was something wrong, let's get the help. And I feel like the sooner the better with that. But full disclaimer, everything that I say dealing with autism on my platform might not be verbatim, but some of the things are kind of the same, and some of the things as far as just finding the resources. And I will provide, resources to get help and stuff like that. And like I said, I'm always here to provide the content so you won't feel like you're alone. Because at the end of the day, it's your child, you want the best for your child, and there's no need to be in denial when it comes down to autism. I know for me, walking in stores, grocery stores, and I used to be like, oh man, like they won't look. But then I just, after a while, just built the confidence up and said, hey, I don't care. Like, my kid like everybody else's kid. And everybody else kid, get the same opportunity. I seen kids with no autism, and they doing way more than what my child doing. So it's like, you just gotta like take it on the chin and, just put your faith in God. And like I said, hopefully, everything will work out, and it will work out. So I know for me, I've been married 11 years. We just had an anniversary, and me and her been working, and she having her job, I having my job. We just make sure that when it come down to school, we have her, on the IEP, and we make sure that we get her the help that she needs. But I do want to let you know, I will be talking about a lot of different topics dealing with autism. I can't put it all in one video, but it will be, different topics such as signs when you first notice it and going to the doctor, the steps with getting it diagnosed, and feeling, how you feeling about it, positive or negative. Because like I said, it's going to be good days, bad days, but ultimately they're all going to accumulate incrementally to a place that you'll be happy with the work that you're doing. And then other topics like getting through programs for being on the spectrum. There's a lot of programs out there, depending on what city, what state you in. Like I said, you just gonna have to find places to get the help, because a lot of people just not gonna understand. You'll think that they will, but they won't. And how your lifestyle gonna change as far as school, how your finances, how much money gonna be utilized to kind of get, around that outside of everything else, and still having time for yourself to accommodate, autism. And just really, it's a lot of communities. We did a 5K walk, and they got a whole community over there in Virginia Beach that we didn't even hear of. Like, we didn't even hear nothing about it. And then when we went, we got a lot of resources and programs. And on Virginia Beach, they do a good job with the outreach of spreading the news with autism, and a lot of people follow that. So that was something that we was able to do and fundraise, and get on Facebook and stuff like that. And like I said, family support. Family not gonna always understand off the rip, so don't hold them to not understanding what you're going through, because at the end of the day, as long as they're not telling you they don't want to have nothing to do with you, they will come around. And like I said, with accommodations, I will elaborate on accommodations, like going to restaurants, stuff like that. Hey, look, we don't want to sit right here. We want to sit back there. Like, can you put us in a more accommodating spot so you won't be compressed or whatever? Because like I said, most kids that autistic or on the spectrum, they have sensory to where, they'll start, kind of going crazy over noises and loud noises, and everybody not gonna be respectful or even know, that you're a kid autistic. So, I'm gonna touch on that, and like I said, the good, the bad, the ugly, and I will do, like a series of multi-part series about autism, and letting everybody know in detail what it's like, and how to experience it and what I had to experience through with it. So I mean, it's a lot to talk about, but God gave me the voice. God gave me, the wisdom to be able to talk about it with a smile, and be uplifting and inspiring. And I hope when you're watching this video that you just stay tuned. And like I said again, I want to thank the 50 subscribers that we reached this week, and I will be posting content soon. Turnovation taking over, signing out. One.